Hey YouTube, today we're going to be comparing a couple of carry options in Glocks. And what we have here in front of us, we have probably the most popular handgun in the entire world on top here. We have a Glock 19, and on the bottom we have probably what's becoming one of the most popular handguns in the world for carry options. We have the Glock 43X. And before we go any further, I'm going to show you that neither one of these mighty Glocks have anything in them. And we are clear to make this video without anybody getting hurt and any magic bullets coming through the screen for you. So what we have here is on top, we have a Generation 5 Glock 19. Now these things have been around a very long time. This is probably one of the most popular handguns in the entire world. Almost everybody owns one of these things, or at the very least has fired one of these things. Now this is chambered in 9mm. Both of these are going to be chambered 9mm. All the 9mm people out there, we're going to give them a little love and do a 9mm carry video here. So this gun has been around for a long time. It's very popular amongst a lot of people for carry purposes. And this thing is a double stacked, and it holds 15 rounds in the magazine and 1 in the chamber. So you're carrying around 16 rounds of 9mm. This one happens to be a Generation 5. This is an early model Generation 5, so it does not have the front slide serrations on them. But it has all the other Generation 5 stuff. It has the little magwell, the little flared out magwell on the bottom of it. It has a little hole here for ripping out the magazines. It has ambidextrous stuff on it, for the slide stop. This particular one just has night sights built into it, but that's not a factory thing. That's an add-on on it. No finger grooves, Generation 5 texturing, the single pin stuff that holds trigger group in, all Generation 5 stuff. But as you can look, you can get a full grip on this thing, all 3 fingers, and it's a very good carry option if you're a 9mm guy. If you like to carry 9mm, this is a good one to have. The front of the slide is tapered down for going in and out of a holster. The marksman barrel, everything, all the Generation 5 stuff. But this is how it fits in your hand. It's a mid-sized gun. It's a very good option if you want to carry a 9mm. This is probably one of the best and most proven guns in the entire world to carry around. They're 100% reliable. They haven't been around this long without being 100% reliable. I mean, people generally don't have problems with Glocks or not lookers, but man, are they reliable. So what we're going to compare that to today is one that's come upon the scene here in the last few years. I don't know how they've been out, but this is a Glock 43X. And this is also a Generation 5, and this one does have the serrations on the front of it, but it does not have an ambidextrous slide stop on it. So this one's more aimed towards right-hand shooters. I think that is a mistake, number one, because there's a lot of left-handed people out there that want to also own and carry handguns, and this makes it a little bit more difficult. It's kind of like the original 1911s. They were more aimed towards right-handed people too, but it has all the Generation 5 stuff. It doesn't have the little hole right here for the magazine rip out. It doesn't have the little flared out thing. It does have the magwell on it for it. It doesn't have interchangeable back straps. The 19 does have interchangeable back straps. You can adjust it for the different size hands and everything, but the 43X does not have that option. It doesn't have interchangeable back straps on it or anything like that. Comes with the factory plastic Glock sights, like all Glocks come with. The front of the slide is tapered down a little bit. It has a single pin in it for the trigger group. All Generation 5, the marksman barrel, everything. Now, this thing is becoming vastly popular, folks. And this thing is a single stack. It holds 10 rounds in the magazine and 1 in the chamber. So you have 11 rounds of magazines. And what this thing's main claim to fame is, and this is puzzling to me, and this is probably the last comparison one I'll do for Glocks, but what's puzzling to me is this whole entire infatuation with this gun. Now, this thing's main claim to fame is how thin it is. And that's why people like to carry this thing, just how thin it is. And you get a full grip on it, on your hand. Now, I did a comparison with the Glock 26 that holds the exact same capacity. And folks, I gave you a rundown. The most important thing when you have a carry concealed gun is not the length of the slide. It is the length of this grip right here. This is what's important. This is when you put this thing in a holster and it sits in a holster like this. This is what prints. And when I say printing, it's what shows up through your clothes. And if you're trying to deep conceal something, this is the part that's the most important in a carry conceal gun. And what people have grown to accept is they want to have their whole hand on this thing for draw purposes and for having their hand, all three fingers on the grip. And that's fine if that's what you want to do. It's all psychological. You can shoot this gun just as well like this with two fingers on it. And your two fingers here, your two middle fingers, are always going to be your strong fingers. But people like that security blanket of having that third finger on them. That's why people add pinky extensions and stuff to these subcompact guns, which in reality no longer makes them a subcompact gun. So Glock came out with this gun here, and they thinned it down a little bit, but they added to this length of this grip, and you're carrying around essentially 10 rounds of 9mm. Well, this is what I don't understand, folks. This gun here is slightly thicker than the 43X, and I'm going to hold them side by side and show you. It's slightly thicker. But is it really that much thicker, folks? I mean, when you're talking about carrying stuff, both of these are pretty mid-sized guns. And I understand the one on the left is thinner, but how much thinner is it? Does that really make that big a difference to you when you're carrying something? And when you look at the grip length right here, which I just told you is what's the most important, they are identical. Now, if you look at the slides, the 19 here on the right is a little bit longer, but that absolutely does not matter. All this part here goes in a holster, and this is the part that prints. So this is the exact same length as the 43X that people love so much. Look at them side by side. They are 100% identical. Now, where they are not identical, folks, and this is what blows my mind with people that like to carry 9mm Glocks, is this is where they're not identical. The magazines are the same length. The one on the left is a little bit thinner, but this is a 10-round magazine versus a 15-round magazine. You are giving up 5 rounds to carry this 43X over this 19, and you're giving up nothing in concealability. This thing is exactly the same length. Now, this one is a little bit lighter and is a little bit thinner. But in the concealed world, the most important thing is the length of the grip, and it is exactly the same. And what I do not understand, and maybe just some people can help me, is why this gun is so vastly popular. Now, I have taken this gun out now. When I first showed it, I had never fired it, and it is pretty snappy because how thin it is and everything. And I don't care what the people say, the 9mm people. This is a little snappy gun as compared to this one. This one's got a little bit more weight to it, and this one's a lot more controllable for people who do not handle recoil well, and for follow-up shots for people that are not as well as managing recoil, who do not practice. This one's going to be a little bit more snappy. So what I do not understand is the Glock people who are willing to accept this long grip and give up 5 rounds. Now, I've showed you this gun next to the baby Glock, which the grip is shortened up by about this much, and it holds the same amount of rounds, and the slides are exactly the same length. And people do not like that gun, and they think it's outdated and everything, and this is the one that they choose. And I'm telling you, I've had numerous comments. This is the one that they like. And what I've never understood is, if you're willing to accept this long grip here, why wouldn't you just go with the Glock 19 that has the same size grip, and you get 5 more rounds in it? Now, these might, if you're a capacity person and you like size, they have a ton of micro 9mm out now that actually hold about 12 to 15 rounds, and they're a little bit shorter than this thing, and they're a little bit more compact, and they hold the same amount of rounds as that. Now, I can see the argument on a micro 9, like a 365 or Hellcat or something like that, over this. I get that all day long. I completely understand that, but I do not understand why anybody would choose this gun here over this one. This absolutely makes no sense to me, and I want somebody out there to sit there and tell me why this thing is a viable option to this when it comes to carry. This one's got a little bit more weight to it, but it's not a noticeable amount of difference. I mean, we're talking ounces, folks. Ounces difference. And like I said, the slide doesn't make a difference, but these things are going to print exactly the same when you're carrying it. And when you're carrying a 9mm, you know, that is a smaller round than, say, a 45. You're going to need extra ammo in there. If you were to get into a bad situation, I would rather have extra ammo if I have a 9mm, and this is probably the way to go. Now, I'm not telling anybody what to do, and I'm never going to tell anybody they're wrong or anything like that on what they choose to carry. You carry what you're comfortable with. I'm just using common sense here, folks. And when you have something that prints exactly the same in a state like I live in, that you can only carry conceal, and you choose to go with the 9mm, I would rather go with the 9mm that has more capacity right here. And it also has more features. It's more adaptable. It's more steered towards left-handed people. If you were a left-handed shooter and stuff like that, this is a bare bones gun. It's a single stack that you lose capacity in, and it just doesn't have as many features on it. I'm not saying this is a bad gun by far, folks. This gun had 0 hiccups and everything like that when I took it to the range, but it is not what I would choose over other options out there. And I've compared this gun to several guns now, and it seems like every other one I compare it to, the other one seems to win out. Now, we'll look at it. We'll look at the profiles here. This is your difference in thickness, folks. When you look at them side by side, they both have the little flared slides for going into a holster, but this is your profile difference. Is it really that big a difference, folks? When the guns are exactly the same length for the grips, and there's your profile difference. Now, I don't know why anybody would want to give up 5 rounds of capacity of 9mm to pick this gun. I don't understand it. Now, when they came out with the Glock 43 was this exact same gun, and it was shortened up right here, and it only held, I think, 6 rounds in the magazine. Now, I could understand that if you were dead set on carrying 9mm, that is a compact size, but you have no capacity. So the way they added the capacity just lengthened it right here. And I just do not understand the new age people's thinking. These Glock new age people. Glock people think it differently than a lot of people. And people think I hate Glock pistols. I do not, folks. I have a ton of them. And I do not hate them. I just do not understand the reasoning with some of these designs. And this one has always puzzled me, why people choose this gun over other options, even Glocks. There's so many bit better Glock options out there than this one. But I don't hate this gun, folks. I just don't think it's the best option for carry. If I hated it, I wouldn't own it. But anyway, folks, give me your opinion on what you think about the Glock 19 versus the Glock 43X and the carry option. Both of them are 100% reliable. Both of them shoot 9mm. This one you're going to have 15 rounds of capacity, and this one you're going to have 10 rounds of capacity in the magazines. Let me know what you think, and thank you very much for watching my video today, and you folks have a great day.